For the first time in 4 years, there are more unemployed people than there are available jobs. A new report by JOLTS, the Job Openings and Labor Turnover Summary, showing unemployment is outpacing job openings. The Labor Department reporting there are about 7.2 million job seekers and 7.1 million open positions.
Let's take a closer look at the numbers. Private sector openings dropping for the second month in a row. Healthcare and social assistance seeing 181,000 fewer job openings. And then the arts and entertainment slightly dropping as well. Despite job creation decreasing, the unemployment rate is still at a low 4.2%.
Now, this could be a sign of a turbulent labor market. Some economists blaming Trump's tariffs and immigration policies.
President Trump harshly responded to declining numbers last month by firing the Labor Department's chief statistician. Trump saying the data was, quote, rigged, but didn't provide much evidence to back up the claim.
Well, I think that when those numbers came out, and also we know that the labor markets cooled down in August because that number came out about how many different jobs came up. So 22,000 is the number that just came out. And we know President Trump was asked yesterday about what he's going to say when we get the jobs report today. And he said, I have to see the numbers. As you know, and our producer, Louie, and I were talking about that it does fluctuate sometimes from the actual report to right after that. But I don't know if it's dramatically enough to say this was a win all summer. I think maybe it'll just get a little higher or sometimes a little bit lower. But I think the jarring thing is that when you're telling people, and not that everyone's telling people this, but largely a conservative conversation is kind of pull yourselves up by the bootstraps, get back to work. There's actually not even an option for some people, right? There's not enough jobs for the people that are unemployed to actually get back to work. So I think that that is part of the thing that's mind-blowing right here. And I also know that a lot of times President Trump is quick to point out what Biden was doing wrong. And these numbers are matching some of Biden's terms, which he was very critical of. So now that he's been in this position for 9 months, it's time to take some accountability as the guy on the campaign trail that said, I'm going to get America working. I'm going to get the economy back in order. I'm going to get inflation down. And I know, like I always have known, inflation is not something that a president can largely control. But he did promise these things on the campaign trail, and people voted for him. I think the number one reason, if it wasn't immigration, was the economy. And so he to me, he hasn't met that promise that he said on the campaign trail in 9 months.
Yeah, so just to throw out a few numbers just to contextualize this recent jobs report. In June, the numbers were revised down by about 22,000. In July, they were revised up by about 79,000 jobs. And the economic advisor at the White House, Kevin Hassett, is saying that they also expect a revision in August, which is typical. The revisions over the past 2 years were sort of unusually large, in the hundreds of thousands of jobs in certain months. But we've also seen the consumer price index come down under Trump, and we've seen inflation cool pretty significantly, which are good news for consumers because as we look ahead to the September Fed meeting, we are looking at a rate cut, which will make it easier for businesses in particular to borrow money, which will allow them to then create jobs. So I'm hopeful that that is going to help heat up the economy a bit more. But one of the things that Republicans are thinking about when they hear that job numbers are not super high in this month, and also that the number of jobs is lower than the number of people seeking employment, is they're going to look at all of these media articles that were written over the past year claiming that we couldn't deport illegal aliens because we had a massive labor shortage and say, absolutely not. Actually, this is the perfect time to prioritize Americans because there are not actually enough jobs for everyone to be gainfully employed that wants to be. And even as we're getting rid of thousands of illegal aliens every month, we still have that statistical difference between those two numbers. So that's hugely important, I think, for Republicans as they look at the immigration side of this.
Right. And also some economists are saying look at immigration as a reason, and the trade deals recently, or lack of them for some places like China, are the reason why we're in this position. So I think this is going to be an ongoing conversation until people feel like they have more money in their pockets, which is largely what was campaigned on. So California Governor Gavin Newsom seems to be striking a chord with some Democratic donors. Why they're interested in his potential 2028 presidential bid. Stick around.